Okay, think about the last time you made a sandwich. You've got your bread, maybe some peanut butter, and then you grab that jar of grape jelly. But have you ever, for even a second, wondered how that jelly got there? Because I'm telling you, it's not just mashed up grapes. The real story is this incredible mix of history, sheer persistence, and some seriously cool science. Let's get into it. So just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, one big jelly factory can go through 650 million liters of grape juice in just 1 year. To wrap your head around that, imagine filling more than 250 Olympic-sized swimming pools with grape juice. Yeah, it's a massive, massive operation that all starts with, well, a literal river of juice.
The whole process kicks off in these gigantic holding tanks. Some of them hold over 250,000 liters of pure grape juice. From those tanks, this purple river gets pumped into enormous kettles, and that's where the cooking begins. This is step one in turning a simple drink into that classic spread we all know.
But here's the thing, you can't use just any old grape. No, the undisputed king of the jelly world is the Concord grape. And how we got this grape? Well, that's a story all on its own. It's really a tale of incredible dedication.
For that, we have to go all the way back to 1849. There was this farmer in Massachusetts, a guy named Ephraim Wales Bull, and he had a mission. He needed to create a grape that could actually survive the freezing, brutal winters they have in New England. This wasn't just about planting a few seeds and hoping for the best. This was a full-on scientific quest.
And when I say quest, I mean it. Bull's dedication was just wow. He ran 22,000 different crossbreeding experiments to get the perfect grape. 22,000! After all that painstaking work, he finally did it. He created the Concord grape. It was tough, it was flavorful, and it's the very same grape that became the gold standard for jelly makers everywhere.
Okay, so we've got our historic grape juice bubbling away in the kettles. But how do we get it to, become jelly? This is where the real science kicks in, and it pretty much all comes down to one secret ingredient.
This is the big question, right? What is the magic that transforms this free-flowing liquid into a thick, semi-solid gel that you can actually scoop up with a knife and spread on your toast?
The answer is pectin, and the coolest part is, pectin isn't some weird chemical additive. It's a totally natural substance that's already inside the cell walls of all fruits. Think of it like a natural glue. When you heat it up with the sugar and acid from the juice, it forms this invisible net that traps the liquid and gives jelly its signature texture.
But here's where it gets tricky. Timing is absolutely everything. You have to add the pectin at the very end of the cooking process. Why? Because if you add it too soon, the jelly would start to firm up right there inside the factory's pipes. That would cause a massive, catastrophic jam, shutting down the entire production line. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
All right, let's move on to the next phase, bottling. Once the jelly is cooked just right, it has to be put into jars with incredible speed and accuracy. And it's this part of the process that's responsible for one of the most satisfying sounds you can hear in your kitchen.
Now this jelly is bottled while it's still blistering hot. We're talking 82 degrees Celsius. To keep the glass jars from cracking or even shattering from that sudden temperature change, that's called thermal shock, they're first washed and warmed up with hot water. It's a really simple but absolutely vital step to keep things from getting messy.
And the speed here is just mind-boggling. There's this massive automated machine, dozens of nozzles all working at once, filling about 135 jars every single minute, each one with a perfect amount. It's like watching a perfectly choreographed dance of glass and hot jelly, all moving at lightning speed.
Okay, so you know that pop you hear when you open a brand new jar? Ever wonder what causes that? Well, here's the science. The hot, expanded jelly is sealed inside the jar. As it cools down, the jelly actually shrinks and contracts. This creates a low-pressure area, a vacuum, inside the jar. That vacuum is what sucks the little button on a lid down, making a super tight, airtight seal. The pop is just the sound of air rushing back in to equalize the pressure when you finally break that seal. Pretty cool, right?
So you'd think, okay, it's in the jar, it's sealed, it's ready to eat. But nope, the journey is not quite over. The most important transformation is actually still to come, and this last step requires a whole lot of patience.
Right after bottling, the jelly is still basically a hot liquid. If you cracked open a jar right then, it would pour out like a thick, sweet cocktail syrup. It needs time for that pectin to do its thing, to finish building that amazing molecular network that creates the perfect, wobbly, spreadable jelly texture.
So let's just recap the numbers here. It takes somewhere between 100 and 130 of those special Concord grapes just to make 1 liter of jelly. And after everything it goes through in the factory, it still needs a full 2 days for that pectin to completely set and turn the liquid into the final product.
So for 2 whole days, those sealed jars just sit quietly in a giant warehouse. They're just resting, waiting for the chemistry to do its final job. Only after that 2-day wait is the jelly actually finished and ready to be shipped out to your local grocery store.
So the next time you pop open a jar of grape jelly for a sandwich, you'll know the whole story. From a farmer's 22,000 experiments to the perfectly timed chemistry in a factory kettle and that final, patient 2-day wait that makes it all work. It really makes you wonder, right? What other simple things in your kitchen have an amazing secret story just waiting to be told?